This episode of Legaleagle was made possible by Skillshare. Learn to think like a lawyer for free for 2 months by clicking on the link in the description.
You know what this means. They're going to keep coming after her, personally, legally, in whatever way they can.
Take it to the judge! There will be sanctions! Hey Legal Eagles, it's time to think like a lawyer. Today we are covering an oldie but a goodie, Damages Episode 1 starring Glenn Close and Rose Byrne. I've never seen an episode of Damages, but I've heard a lot about it, so I'm really looking forward to this. As always, be sure to comment in the form of an objection, which I will either sustain or overrule, and let me know what movie or TV show I should do next. And of course, stick around until the end of the video where I give this episode of Damages a grade for legal realism. So, without further ado, let's dig into Damages, Episode 1. You should really shower up after you've murdered someone. The blood is a dead giveaway.
Ellen, I think you'll find our offer more than fair for someone just out of law school. We'd like to bring you in as a junior associate. 5 years guaranteed.
Okay.
Salary of... Holy
So it is very common to get job offers right out of law school. That is one of the primary functions of law school, is to connect aspiring lawyers with big firms who will make offers like these. A couple things to note here. Number one, nobody gets a 5-year guarantee out of law school. There's just no way to know who's going to be a good lawyer and who's not. So there is really never such a thing as a guaranteed employment contract with a big law firm. But that kind of reaction to the salary offer is somewhat realistic because New York really sets the bar when it comes to associate salary. Right now, in New York at a big firm, you can make anywhere between $160,000 and $190,000 per year straight out of law school if you go to one of the biggest firms. I don't know if this is one of those big firms. It looks very ornate, but there are some monster salaries that are being offered to students right out of law school.
Miss Hughes, the verdict's coming in.
It's your last chance to get off cheap. 150.
50, Patty. Tops.
Reggie Dwayne Thomas.
Who the hell's that?
A second grader and a Mets fan. You know him as patient 61. As his immune system was being decimated, Reggie asked me for 2 things.
75, Patty.
That his team make the playoffs, and that someone punish the company that made him sick.
All right. 150, that's it. We're done.
Ah, the good old courthouse steps negotiation. While this is clearly a dramatization, there are some kernels of truth here because, contrary to popular belief, very few cases actually go to trial. And those that do go to trial, very few of them actually end up going to verdict because parties are risk averse. And while tens of millions of dollars might seem like a huge amount, and it is obviously, to a large corporation, the downside could be even worse. For example, a good friend of mine just litigated a case against Monsanto and won $300 million. So if you're up against a $300 million or $1 billion verdict that could bankrupt the company, it's better to just take your lumps, get the certainty of not having hundreds of millions of dollars against you by the jury, and just move on, which I think is what's happening here.
I am here because of Arthur Frobisher. 5,000 of his employees lost their life savings as a result of his actions.
Alleged actions. He was found not guilty at a criminal trial.
As is often the case, there are different burdens of proof depending on what court you're in. If you have a criminal prosecution, then you have the highest burden in all of law, which is you must prove your case as the state beyond a reasonable doubt. The members of the jury cannot have a single reasonable doubt in order to convict. However, what often happens is that even if you are acquitted in a criminal court, you can be brought to trial in a civil court where the burden of proof is much lower. You can get damages.
Oh boy, I usually only get this excited when they say the title of a movie in the movie.
Even if a defendant is acquitted in criminal court, then you can still sue that person for civil damages, i.e. money damages, in civil court, where the burden of proof is much, much lower. You just have to show a preponderance of the evidence. In other words, if you had both sides on a scale, which side is just slightly more persuasive than the other? So I think what's going to happen here is that there will be a civil lawsuit against Mr. Frobisher for civil damages, money damages, where he might have to disgorge some of the profits that he made or pay pay civil damages to his employees if he did something wrong. So I guess we'll see.
I need you to understand this. We are engaging in a battle with a man who will stop at nothing to preserve his fortune. High-stakes litigation is a long and painful process.
That is true.
Frobisher will destroy us in the press. He will attack us personally. He will try to turn our lives upside down so that we'll want to settle. Meanwhile, his attorneys will spin him as the good guy, the aggrieved, innocent victim. So we have to be patient, and we have to stay strong. But most of all, we have to all stick together. If we do that, we'll win.
There is some truth to that. Litigation can take literally years. I've been on cases that took 5 years to get to trial and took another few years to deal with the appeals. Litigation takes a long time. It takes a huge amount of resources. And it's one of the reasons that people settle all the time, is because it's so resource intensive that it can take years before you get compensation when you're clearly an aggrieved party. It's a real problem.
Ellen, Uncle Pete. Uncle Pete's been with Patty longer than any of us. He's really the one who runs everything around here.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
It's dry cleaning. We've been working on the Frobisher case 24/7, and some of our associates haven't been able to go home yet.
That's true. Big firms actually do offer dry cleaning services to keep their associates in the office longer.
Well, if it isn't the maid of honor.
What? This is totally insane to suggest that a partner in a major firm is going to come down to someone's wedding to interview them because they rejected them for a job interview. They're going to get hundreds of rejections a year. That's just the way that these things work. There's no such thing as this firm that everybody has to work for right out of law school or while you're in law school. This is this trope that exists in TV that just doesn't exist in reality. There are hundreds of great firms out there. There are even lots of firms that parallel the sort of Gloria Allred thing that's going on over here. There's no reason why anyone in particular would need to work for one particular attorney. It doesn't work that way.
Miss Hughes. Is there any way I could still interview?
I think it'd be a waste of time, Ellen. You're hired.
Ugh.
From 1 p.m. to 3, he lunches with a few of his Fortune 500 pals, lobster bisque, Kobe beef.
But his broker is nowhere to be found. From 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., Frobisher's at the spa getting a full body treatment.
For 3 hours? What was he getting waxed?
6 p.m., Frobisher flies home in his private jet, arrives at Teterboro Airport at 9 p.m. He's home safe and sound by 10.
So somehow Frobisher and his broker communicated down in Florida, but no one saw them together.
So this seems like the kind of issue that would be determined in discovery. You would get access to all of his emails, his phone records. So if there is any communication going on, they would probably have that information. They wouldn't need to do any kind of private investigation work to track it down, which is dramatic for TV, but is not the kind of thing that actually happens very much in actual litigation. I guess we'll see.
Good news. I was able to push this through.
My liquor license. Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Oh, God. Don't even get me started about liquor licenses in New York. It's crazy.
But Larry, Patty Hughes, she's not the answer. I mean, she's an egomaniac. And she's gonna lose. You know why?
No, sir.
Because I didn't do it. Yeah, I'm a very rich man. I make no apologies for that. But I'm also an innocent man, and I want to come to some reasonable solution to this.
If Mr. Frobisher was an attorney here, this whole meeting would be completely inappropriate. If you know that someone is represented by counsel as another attorney, you cannot reach out to the party directly. You have to go through counsel. But there is no rule that prohibits two clients themselves from talking things out, even when there's litigation pending. That being said, it's a really, really bad idea because the lawyers are there to act as intermediaries and they are there to hash things out dispassionately, whereas when you get the clients together, talking things out, it never goes right. And I'm guessing that things are not going to go right in this episode either.
I think that you and I together could end this. And we'll be discreet and we'll take care of you when this is all settled, but
not good.
Is a number that you think is fair.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons you don't have clients meet individually amongst each other, especially here where this guy seems to be representing a class or a whole group of people who've been wronged by this company. You can't conspire with a defendant and then screw over all the other members of the class for your own personal gain. This is exactly why you want lawyers in the room to prevent any kind of shenanigans, because lawyers know that they can get disbarred for this kind of nonsense.
Frobisher's net worth is upwards of $2.5 billion. Now, 100 million sounds like a lot of money, and it is, but it's less than 5% of what this man is worth. I think we have a strong case.
It doesn't matter how much the defendant is worth, it matters how much you're going to get as a result of the litigation. I don't know the specifics of this case, but Glenn Close here may be doing a big disservice to all of those class members, because when you're thinking about a potential recovery, there are a couple things you need to take into account, not just the top line number. Number one, no recovery is certain. Let's say that there is a 10% chance that you're going to win everything that you think you do. Well, if you think you're entitled to $1 billion, then a 10% chance means that that's worth about $100 million. On top of that, there's the time value of money. Say you get a full recovery, but it takes you 5 to 10 years to get that. Well, a lot of people would rather have a smaller amount right now. That's the net present value of the recovery. And then on top of that, there are all the attorney's fees and court costs that it's going to take to litigate this thing to the end. So those are some of the reasons why you might take a smaller amount up front with the certainty of getting it than to have to deal with years of litigation and potentially never being able to recover if the defendant is judgment-proof and goes bankrupt. So you got to take those things into consideration.
I'd like to take it to a jury and let them decide what Mr. Arthur Frobisher owes you.
Yeah, I'll bet you would. But that might not be in their interest.
Look at her. Normally she turns this shit down. She hates awards.
And why is she here?
For the PR. Most cases, you get your clients 100 million, you're a hero. But if Frobisher gets off that easy, the whole legal world will know she tanked it.
But that is not true at all.
Tom here's a vegan.
Only for health reasons.
Health reasons. Right.
That's weird.
I read an interview once with a Nobel Prize winner, a physicist, genius, married 6 times. He said, don't have kids. Ruins your ambition, keeps you from what you want in life. He said to have wives instead. You can leave wives. You can't leave your own kids.
What is she signing? Why does she need to sign 100 different pieces of paper?
You know what I like about you?
No.
There's always something going on.
What's redeemable about her character?
I can
How
see
would
it
you
at your
know that?
sister's
She's
wedding.
done nothing.
And you don't fall for
Okay, I guess. She seems like a blank slate that everyone just projects what they want onto her.
Patty Hughes has a new associate.
So what? I thought they voted to accept the settlement.
Well, I haven't gotten a call yet. I'm worried.
The new associate's been talking to Katie Connor.
Who? Oh, Chef.
Ray, whatever it takes, fix this.
Uh-oh, witness tampering. Don't witness tamper.
Saffron?
David, if I don't tell Patty about Katie, the clients lose the case.
I'm not sure that you can be totally objective about this, Alan.
What is that supposed to mean?
That you'll score points with Patty.
I would never do anything to hurt Katie.
Then just keep her out of this!
What? Yeah, sorry, Saffron. But how would that even get her to testify or not testify? What are they trying to accomplish here? Quiet. Oh my god. Alright, so if you were a lawyer and you paid someone to kill a potential witness's dog, that is certainly a disbarrable offense. I really don't even think that that would help keep that witness quiet. She doesn't know anything here. What are these people doing?
You know what this means. They're gonna keep coming after her, personally, legally, in whatever way they can.
Take it to the judge. There will be sanctions.
Ellen, I don't take this for granted. I know how hard it is for you.
Well, if Katie can help the case, then we're doing the right thing.
Are you?
I'll do everything in my power to protect her.
Good.
Lawyers don't really have that much power to protect people. They're not the police or the FBI. That's kind of a hollow promise. If this had happened in one of my cases, I immediately would have taken this information to the judge. I would have asked for the police or the FBI to start investigating it. This is a serious crime when you have witness tampered and you've killed someone's dog. I mean, never mess with someone's dog. This is a serious problem that should result in sanctions against the defendant, if not more criminal charges against the defendant or his attorneys. I mean, this is not a small thing. This is clearly something that deserves its own investigation, and you shouldn't just sweep it under the rug and just continue the litigation as if nothing has happened.
Maybe one of these days I'll stop being impressed. Ellen figures out why you hired her, and you still get her to deliver the witness.
You don't need to deliver a witness.
Are you interviewing for a new associate?
No, I like Ellen. I think she's gonna have a brilliant future.
Oh, come on. Okay, so they killed the dog to force Ellen's friend to testify. But if they knew anything about litigation, all they would have to do is to issue a subpoena against the friend and then depose the friend, regardless of whether she wanted to or not. It's so stupid to try and reverse blackmail or reverse witness tamper. It doesn't even sound like she was really on the fence in the first place. There are mechanisms to do this in litigation. You deal with witnesses who don't want to testify all the time. Ugh. These people are terrible lawyers. Terrible lawyers. Yeah. Souvenir for the dog you murdered for no reason. Okay, so now it's time to give the first episode of Damages a grade for legal realism. Oh boy, you know, it started out strong, but it really took a nosedive there at the end. It started out with some really good negotiations, some interesting interplay between defendants and a class of representatives, realistic sort of negotiations and back and forth, but then it took a nosedive and turned into a soap opera with witness tampering for no reason, ignoring the rules of civil procedure. They could have gotten everything that they wanted just through normal channels in litigation, but they don't really seem to be great lawyers. So all in all, I'm giving the first episode of Damages a C+. Patty Hughes and Ellen Parsons failed at being good lawyers. Learning to think like a lawyer really means learning a broad range of topics and always learning new skills. For example, I always wanted to know how to buy good wine that I will actually like, so I started taking this course on wine tasting by Gary Vaynerchuk on Skillshare. I hate having to guess my way through a wine list, when really all I want is a good wine to go with dinner. So I'm finally learning the fundamentals of tasting, selecting, and shopping for wine. Skillshare is an online learning community that has over 20,000 classes on everything like cuisine, design, technology, you name it. If you've ever wanted to learn something, odds are they have a class. The free premium membership gives you unlimited access to must-know topics so you can improve your skills and learn new things. And you'll get 2 free months of Skillshare when you click on the link below. It's a special offer just for Legal Eagles. So click the link, get 2 free months, and start learning today. So until next time, I'll see you in court.